Welcome to AI and Automation in Action, where we show business leaders how to turn AI from a buzzword into measurable operational leverage. If you're serious about operational efficiency and responsible AI adoption, you're in the right place.
AI and Automation in Action, where we dive through real-world use cases of AI and automation to hopefully spark some ideas for you and how you can apply these concepts to your operations. So we're again joined by Hunter. Hunter, I appreciate you hopping on with me again and giving me some of your time.
Absolutely.
Interested to hear what you've got to share with us today. If you will, kind of dive through the problem area first, and then we'll talk through what you were able to come up with from a creative perspective.
Yep. So we had a client that was using two separate on-premise applications. One of those applications was a way for them to track attendance for their students, class roster, and there was some limitations in terms of sending out emails to their students from within that on-premise application. The other application that they have on-premise was a way that they could track the fiscal year budgets, any documents that they had outstanding for those organizations or students, but a way for them to follow up on those and get reminders and track all of that in a dashboard. What we were able to come up with from a creative perspective was consolidating both of those applications into a single portal so they don't have to have both of them up or go into different spots to get to that data. They're able to log into a single portal, and based upon the permissions the user has, they will have access to both of the applications in that portal or a single application based upon the permissions they've been given. From there, we were able to pretty much one for one recreate the application that they had on premise in the cloud solution. And then to that point, we were able to work through some of the limitations that the on-premise application had in regards to sending out emails to all of the students in a class or follow up on things. We were able to provide that in this new solution to them.
Got it. So if I understand correctly, legacy applications that had to be installed on local servers and maintained locally as well. So not only was it a requirement to have physical storage, physical server, but if I understand from our discussions previously, they even had a lot of time and money invested in maintaining these applications to the point that an ongoing, almost full-time position for someone to maintain the applications themselves.
That is correct. And that is something that, in terms of all of the changes, we were able to work through everything that they were wanting to see. And another limitation that their existing application had was it only allowed for a user sign in and password. We were able to further secure that and implement two-factor authentication, just making sure it's staying within their compliance frameworks and provide them with a HIPAA compliant solution for that database.
Well, and it brings up some good discussion points because a lot of times when we talk about AI and automation, people think, oh, we're going to be building AI specific use cases. A lot of times this is taking what from an efficiency perspective and not necessarily making it an AI application, but improving upon areas that are in terms of time and resource drains, financial investments, and ongoing just manual maintenance towards this. And so I think that's an important aspect that as we start talking about AI and automation, how do you put it to use in your organization? It's not just about AI. It's about what's inefficient, what's a legacy, application or workflow or any part of your operations that can be enhanced. And so that was a constriction point for our client. You were able to kind of think through how do we take that and modernize it. Moving that to the cloud eliminates that on-site resource and storage and server aspect. But then you enhanced it in terms of functionality as well and being able to add more security in and modernize it, correct?
Correct. And to your point, and as we always talk about, but continuing to layer on additionally to that. Maybe they want to take that data and do something with it later. That was something that ultimately was restricted and constrained in that on-premise application. And now that it's living in the cloud and has that API access support, it's endless. So they can do whatever they want now with that data, tied into other solutions or applications they have now that support API access, or if they want to lean on us to create something else down the road that integrates with that, that's something now that we can do.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest advantages I see in moving to these type of solutions is, historically speaking, legacy applications, the data lives in that application. It doesn't pass to other applications unless there's a native integration supported. And even if they have API access, a lot of times it's not as easy to get all of the endpoints or the data points pulled across if they don't enable that. So, in this case, where historically we may have been looking at, how do we integrate two systems, which we can do, we just said, okay, we may just build a brand new system that provides the same functionality. And then, as you point out, the API access, we have full control to extend it to whatever we need to. And I can envision that, we're talking about we could add other applications to this, but then there is that AI functionality that, if at some point we want to say, and I'm sure we will, let's pull some analytics out of this so that we can start making smarter decisions. Now we have access to the data. It's easily accessible and controlled. So now we can actually start making decisions based upon that analytics, based upon pulling all of the data sources together. And then as you start looking to the AI side of things, you could even turn up, what's called an MCP server, where we could actually allow your AI chatbot to query that type of data in real time based upon, what you want to give access to. In terms of the client return, what do you anticipate this is going to enable for them in terms of time back, cost savings, things like that?
In terms of simple things like having to close an application and jump into the other one, I can see small time savings there, but also massive time savings to your point where they had a single developer in-house that actually created those on-premise applications. And so now it has alleviated him fully from having to support that and any of the new features. So in terms of a cost savings, it's hard to put an exact number on that, but I would say it's close to, 10, 20 hours a week, honestly, because I know that these are critical applications for this business, and this is something that developer was supporting full time.
And, I think that as we start looking at this, one of the comments I've made in the past that kind of has stuck with me is, we used to ask organizations, if you had a magic wand and could wave it and do anything you wanted to from a technology perspective, what would that be? We typically were focused on from a technology perspective specifically, but now there really is a magic wand that we can say, would you like to enable in terms of capabilities inside your organization, and being able to bring that type of functionality to fill the gaps. 5 years ago, even, we were all restricted by what is the industry software that we use, what does it allow us to do, and what doesn't it allow us to do, and we have to modify our process to say, okay, well, it doesn't allow us to do that, so we just have to change our workflow. Now we can basically say, what do we do in terms of our operations, and let's build our applications to support that. As we basically flip the table over on that to say applications work for us, not the other way around.
And the other important thing I will call out with that is you own the data. With it being your database, you own the data. To that point, you don't have to reach out to someone and request them to delete it. It's something that you own and can do anything with it at that point.
Huge advantage. And we've seen across the industries that there is a shift to this in terms of a mindset around this, because there are some systems that it just doesn't make sense. If you're in a huge CRM application, it may not make sense to build a CRM application, but you look at what are the gaps that aren't being covered by it, and maybe that's where you focus your efforts. And then, to your point, trying to get as much of that data under your control so that you can share that between other applications, whether you want to manipulate that data, you have that flexibility now. So, Hunter, excellent discussion, excellent use of AI and automation. Always appreciate your guidance and hearing what you're building. So look forward to hearing from you on the next one.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shane.
Thanks for tuning in to AI and Automation in Action. If today's conversation sparked ideas about how AI or automation could improve your operations, we'd love to continue that discussion with you. Join us next time as we showcase another real-world implementation and break down how to deploy AI responsibly and effectively. And if you want to brainstorm with our team, email us anytime at ideas@innovativeautomations.ai. Until next time.